Welcome back to the Irish Bandit channel, or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I, as always, am your host, the one, the only, the second Irish Bandit. We continue on with ranking some of my favorite horror movie franchises. Now, this is where we get into two parts, and I don't know why I picked this one for the first two-parter because it is one of the longest. It's not the longest. There's one other one that has just as many entries as this franchise. The other two have 9. So again, I don't know why I picked this one to be the first two-parter. I should have went with either Nightmare on Elm Street or Saw for this one. But whatever, we're doing it. Well, no, I take that back. I know why I'm doing this, because the apparently last movie in the franchise, I say last because we never know if it's ever going to be the last in any franchise unless another movie doesn't come out for years. But then again, given the convoluted history of the timeline of this franchise, you never know what's last or what's first or what's what or who's who or who's even related to anybody anymore at this point. Of course, I'm talking about the Halloween franchise that kicked off the career of Jamie Lee Curtis and made a household horror name out of Michael Myers. Halloween, the first Halloween, the original Halloween movie from 1978, is my all-time favorite horror movie. That honor has been bestowed on a few movies over time, but once I saw Halloween, I knew that this one was the best horror movie that I've ever seen. So I think you can kind of guess where Halloween will rank. But let's get these first 6 out of the way. These are the lesser titles in the franchise, and we're encompassing everything in the franchise, including the Rob Zombie remakes. So this is going to be one hell of a list for Halloween. And let's not waste any more time. Let's get right down to it. Coming in at the bottom of the barrel, number 12. This movie was absolutely dreadful, and it is one of my all-time least favorite horror movies. We're kicking it off strong with Halloween Resurrections at number 12. So for these first few, I will try to point out a few positives with each movie, because there are some positives. I absolutely thought Busta Rhymes was something incredible in Halloween Resurrections. He stole the show and chewed the scenery, but it was still something amazing to watch, especially when he busted out the karate moves. The cinematography looked really good. What else was good about this movie? I think that's about it. Like, the casting was all right, but it was that typical horror trope of very unlikable people in a haunted house. I think Thomas Ian Nicholson was in it, best known as Kevin from the American Pie movies and in King Arthur's Court. He was the only one that I liked other than Busta Rhymes. Who was she? Tyra Banks was in it as well. She was all right. Jamie Lee Curtis basically had a glorified cameo after everything that happened in the events of Halloween H2O. In this one, they killed Laurie Strode off pretty quickly, and that was supposed to be the end of it until Halloween 2018. But we'll get to that in part 2, because I actually like that one. Either way, yeah, this was uninspiring, dull. I just didn't get into it at all. I hated the look of Michael Myers' mask in this one. But Busta Rhymes more than made up for it in some parts. Coming in at number 11, this is, a lot of people regard this as the worst movie in the Halloween franchise, and I can't disagree with it. It's pretty bad. Few good things aside, this movie was just, couldn't get into this one at all. Coming in at number 11, Halloween 6. So the good things about this movie, Donald Pleasence, right off the bat, he was just made that role of Dr. Sam Loomis his own, and he is synonymous with that role. I don't think anybody else could do it, especially Malcolm McDowell, who we'll talk about in a little bit. It was the final movie that he starred in before his passing. Paul Rudd made his feature film debut in this movie, and he would go on to play Ant-Man and be in a whole bunch of Judd Apatow comedies. But This is where he got his start as Tommy Doyle. Three people have played Tommy Doyle over the course of the Halloween movies. What else? Yeah, I think that's it. Again, the story was subpar. There was a very mind-numbing part in near the end of the movie. Like, when I say mind-numbing, it's like strobing lights, and it was just an assault on the senses in all the worst ways possible. I thought Jamie Lloyd had a very, I think that was her name, Jamie Lloyd, had a very, very shady ending when it came to her storyline. But yeah, Halloween 6, a lot of people call it the worst movie in the franchise, and I can't disagree with them on that one. It is horrible. Like, personally, I think Halloween Resurrection was worse, but Halloween 6 was bad. Speaking of bad, we're finally getting into it. I know everybody does. Not a lot of people like the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. I'm one of them. Well, I liked his first Halloween more than the one that's coming in at number 10. But this one, again, much like Resurrections, much like Halloween 6, no substance to it whatsoever coming from a director like Rob Zombie. And I absolutely loved Devil's Rejects. So, but again, coming in at number 10, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So what did I like about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? Not much. One thing I did like, though, I will admit that I liked seeing Dr. Loomis connect or try to connect with Michael when he was still young. You know, I didn't even know that the little boy who played the young Michael Myers in the movies was the same kid giving Hancock a hard time in Hancock, the little French kid. Okay, sure, but whatever. But yeah, I really like that. We got to see him try, or maybe that was in the first one. I don't know. Those movies kind of blur together, honestly. I didn't think much of them. But yeah, again, no substance to either of these movies. Boring, predictable, whatever you want to say about them. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I gotta make that distinction between Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 and the original Halloween 2. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, there's just nothing to it. We had Laurie going crazy for an hour and a half or however long the movie was. No, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 was just, it could have been better. It probably shouldn't have been made, given that it was a remake, a sequel to a remake for that matter. But, you know, I shouldn't say that because not all of them are bad. Like, you take a look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, sequel to the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was good. I thought Texas Chainsaw Massacre was better, but the beginning was actually a really good way to start the franchise off. But this one, just boring and just mean and stuff. I know it's a horror movie and it's a big buff, well, I guess not buff, but a big, giant, strong murderer. It's not supposed to be nice, but even still, some of the kills in there were pretty nastier than they should have been. But my opinion, yeah, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, take it or leave it, and I chose to leave it. I was so hyped for this movie when it was announced after the success of Halloween 2018, even though it was kind of confusing that they reset the timeline again with the Halloween franchise. But I was so hyped for this one, and after I watched it, I was so disappointed after it was done. Coming in at number 9, Halloween Kills. I wanted to like Halloween Ends. I really did. Coming off of how strong Halloween 2018 was, it just seemed like it should have been better. There was something there, but they just didn't capitalize on it. At best, I just thought it was okay. Maybe it was near the end of the movie with everyone chanting, "Evil dies tonight." That got old very quickly. But there was just something. Greatness was just within its reach, but it just couldn't grasp it. And I just felt very, very let down by it. Well, the great things. Jamie Lee Curtis, again, anytime she was in a Halloween movie, save for Halloween Resurrections, given how short she was in that one, is just fantastic that she's back to her Scream Queen roots. I love seeing it. I absolutely love Jamie Lee Curtis. She looks fantastic. I'm not even going to say for her age because it's just almost sounds ageist, but she looks fantastic, and she was just great in this movie. I loved the supporting cast they had with it. Anthony Michael Hall was quite a surprise when I heard he was being cast as Tommy Doyle, the third person who played Tommy Doyle. But he really didn't do anything other than grab a baseball bat and goes, "Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight." Okay, Tommy, whatever you say, bud. and then everything that happened at the end of that movie was just like, really? Like, I mean, I can kind of get it because, you know, Michael Myers is this just unstoppable force of nature that just kills anything that gets in his path. But that was ridiculous at the end of that one. Yeah. Should have been great. I should have liked it a lot more, but something wasn't there, and not everything was firing on all cylinders. This one was marginally better than Halloween Kills, I'm sorry. But even then, it had this layer of filth on it that I didn't really like, but it was coming from the mind of Rob Zombie. So I expected something like that, but not like something that made me go, ew. Coming in at number 8, Rob Zombie's Halloween. So the things I liked about Rob Zombie's Halloween, Laurie. The girl who they got to play Laurie Strode in Rob Zombie's Halloween, was just great. She wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis, but I think that's an unfair comparison because these are like, well, I was going to say they were two totally different stories, but it was kind of the same. But other than that, I thought she did a great job as Laurie, whereas Jamie Lee Curtis played her as the more bookish, I don't want to say prudish, but she was a bit of a wild one, especially taking a bagel and, yeah. So I really liked her. I really liked Taylor Maine as Michael Myers. Like, even though, I'm not taking back anything I said about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Taylor Maine did an awesome job as Michael Myers. There's this huge hulking presence. Like I said in the earlier entry, Michael Myers is supposed to be this unstoppable force of nature, and that's exactly what he was, especially when portrayed by somebody with the size of Taylor Maine. I think Malcolm McDowell, I think I said Roddy McDowell earlier, no, Malcolm McDowell. Malcolm McDowell did all right. Like, Donald Pleasance to me is always going to be Dr. Loomis, but I think for this time frame, for this series, I think Malcolm McDowell was a great choice for Dr. Loomis. I didn't like the family dynamic of Michael Myers when he was a kid. His stepfather was gross. His mother was gross. Even, I know she's played by Sherry Moon Zombie, and she's in every movie that Rob Zombie has to make. Like, she's even in The Munsters as Lily Munster, I believe. But I know she has to be in every movie. Rob Zombie contractually obligated to do that. But just the family dynamic between the Myers was just skeezy and gross, and I didn't like it, and it was just icky. Like, with the stepfather being this abusive quadriplegic. Just, oh God, no. But other than that, I thought Rob Zombie's Halloween was alright. Like, we're getting into the movies here that I think are alright. Until we get to number 6, which I thought was great, but we'll talk about that in a second or two. But yeah, Rob Zombie's Halloween was alright. Like, it was better than his sequel, but that's really not saying much. But Rob Zombie's Halloween, yeah, it was okay. Coming in at number, let's see, I think this is number 7. Yes, number 7. Yes. Coming in at number 7 is a movie I really, I own it, and I don't really remember much of it, honestly. It's not really that memorable. Anyway, coming in at number 7, Halloween 5. So like I said, I own Halloween 5, so I'm just going to go by the back of the DVD for this one. This happens 1 year after the event, a year after the events of Halloween 4, which we'll get into part 2. His traumatized young niece, Jamie, played by Danielle Harris, is horrified to discover she has a telepathic bond with her evil uncle, and that Uncle Michael is on his way back to Haddonfield, but Dr. Loomis, legendary legendary Donald Pleasance, not Dr. Pleasance, what the hell, has a new plan to destroy the boogeyman in his childhood home using Jamie as bait. Tonight, the carnage begins again. Michael Myers is back with a vengeance. Yeah. So, again, Donald Pleasance, anytime he was in the movie, was fantastic. You know, he was just amazing, amazing, amazing as always. Danielle Harris, again. No, not again. Danielle Harris did a fantastic job in this movie as Jamie Lloyd. She was just... You felt she was in danger every time that Michael was around. And then, you know, it was a fine movie. You know, we're getting into the good ones now, the ones that I enjoy more than the others. And Halloween 5, it was all right. No big complaints from me about it, really. It was a good movie. I thought 4 was better, but we'll get into that next time. That's really all I can say about it. So there we go, 6 down, 6 to go. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you liking this countdown so far? Let me know. If you are liking this video, let me know by giving it a big thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. In the description, you're going to see a link to all the ways you can help support this channel. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and Reddit. If you'd like to support this channel, you can go pick up some of your Irish Bandit merchandise at my Redbubble shop. You can purchase my very first novel, Shade Falling, on Amazon, and now you can buy me a coffee. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, tap the bell and you'll be notified whenever a brand new video goes live. I'll be back Thursday with the remaining 6 entries of this franchise as I rank those 6. Those are my 6 favorite. I will also be back Friday with some Dead by Daylight gameplay as I'm playing as Ghostface from the Scream franchise, which we talked about last week. And then I'll be back Saturday and Sunday with more Blair Witch. So be sure to join me for that, as we are celebrating one Halloween of a Halloween. Yes, I am sticking with that. So until then, talk to you again soon.